Okay. Hi there, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, thanks. I took a little bit of a hiatus recently, but now I'm back and I want to be doing them consistently now from now on. So, I'm also looking for ways to maybe move my platform from Zoom just to other platforms online, just so I can get some more viewership. So, I'm be looking into that very soon, and I'll let you guys know of any updates with that. So perfect. So on to session number 12 here. As always, my information is down below in the bottom left here. Let me see here. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so some housekeeping information here. Now it's Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern going forward. So just keep keep your eyes and ears out for that. And let me know, of course, of any new ideas that you guys want me to talk about. I'd love to do that. So, and please tell anybody you know who might be interested. I'm just trying to increase my viewership in any way possible. Simply because I really do love this stuff, and I'm not just doing it just for myself. I'm doing it so the more people can hear this, the more people's relationship with fitness and lives that can possibly change. So I guarantee you, if you find anybody that's interested even a little bit in fitness, if you send them my way here, I guarantee you, I'm just trying to make any difference any way I can. So please, I'm just looking for any other more viewership, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for coming out today. For those of you here today. So yeah, I'm letting anybody know if they're interested. Also subscribe to my YouTube, and if you have any questions throughout the session, just hold on to them, and at the end, either turn on your mic or just use a text function in the chat. So session 11 recap last time. This is around 2 weeks now ago. So yeah, just we talked about little home workout ideas. Some resistance training ideas was kind of mainly with pull-up bars. An amazing workout if you have them. They're probably the best workout you can ever do. Push-up handles for resistance strength training, of course. We talked about those a little bit. We talked about handstand shoulder press last time. And what to do with light dumbbells is mainly just to focus on the contraction of the movements. And there's a lot of, tutorials online of things you can do with these light dumbbells. Just, if you get creative, there's a lot more things you can do. And yeah, you can really have a great workout with this stuff. And doing stuff with lunges and squats, of course, getting like a backpack, putting some books in there. That's a great thing to do for your legs. And it's an awesome thing that everyone can do because everyone has a backpack and any weights, regardless, it can be books, textbooks, anything. So yeah. Okay, and
so it's going to be here probably 10 minutes.
And yeah. Let's see. So with session 11, also session 11, we talked about hitting your steps. So mainly with the 10,000 steps, it's a great thing to do. There's a reason people say hit your 10,000 because that's kind of the gold standard. For the for the Canadian foundation of Canada, where they essentially look at different physical activities, and the government of Canada has outlined certain strategies or certain baseline activity levels in which one could be considered as being sedentary and one could be considered as being active. And if you usually hit under 500 steps, so if you're under 500 steps, you're considered as being sedentary. And if you're above that, that's better. Then you're above baseline. Usually, the average Canadian is sedentary. We're looking to maybe hit around 7,800, 7,000, 8,000 at least, but 10,000 is going to be your best bet when it comes to cardiovascular effects and weight loss and everything else, and also keeping your figure in shape if that's what you're looking for. I don't recommend HIIT cardio. In fact, I think it's kind of a fad right now, and it's only really useful only if you already have great cardiovascular fitness, because if you already don't have great cardiovascular fitness, doing HIIT cardio won't be the best for you because it'll be too short of a burst. And mainly when you're in these too short of a burst, it's essentially not going to allow you to burn the amount of calories that you need for efficient weight loss and function. it's just going to be too quick and it's going to be a little bit too hard. So first start with your moderate intensity cardio, and then, once you're a seasoned veteran with cardiovascular fitness, then you can go and hit cardio. But really, it's actually not useful. And I would even recommend just doing moderate intensity cardio just as your main staple, regardless of your activity levels or how long you've been doing fitness. Just hit cardio is fairly, it's more of a fad at this point. Like I said, steady state cardio. And for cardio, do the form of cardio you like best. So if you like playing basketball, for example, then do that for your cardio. If you like playing hockey, do that. If you like going for walks, do that. The best form of cardio is the one that you're going to be doing, because there's no point in doing it if you're not essentially going to do it. If it's something that you really dread and don't like, the chance that you'll do it, again and again and again over time are really small. So do something that you like. Don't focus about, like, I remember I used to think that, okay, for something to be considered cardio, it has to be something that you kind of like don't like, and you kind of have to push yourself to do it. But that's not really true. It should be something that you enjoy, whether it's walking, whether it's, doing anything, getting outside. It's just about getting moving, right? That's the number one thing. And with our talk about calories in, calories out, yes, you can eat less calories, and then that's how you can burn body fat and lose weight subsequently. But you could also increase your energy expenditure, which means increase the amount of calories you burn. And doing stuff, going outside, being active is a way you can do that. So just always look for ways just to get yourself walking. I know when I was at university, often I was within like around 20 minute walk of campus. But there's also a bus that will get you there in 4 minutes. Maybe get up 20 minutes earlier and, walk instead. Just do something that will allow you to get moving a bit more, especially now during COVID times with certain things closed. You could really benefit from increasing your cardiovascular fitness. Yeah. And yeah, you can combine resistance training and cardio. You can get creative with it. If you don't have access to a gym, that's also something that's an option, and that could really help you guys. So session number 12, I want to just talk about some very common diet myths, essentially. And these are myths that I've heard from a lot of people. I hear some of these and most of these from they're perpetuated by dietitians. I'm not going out and slandering dietitians or slandering that profession. That's not my goal here. But I'm just saying that even though people might be certified, that doesn't mean that they're saying the right information. And often they might use these credentials as a foot in the door technique to say things and spew things that are not correct. And they might have more sinister undertones, mainly because maybe they're sponsored by a certain company that wants them to say something and not say something. So often dietitians, hey, there's some great dietitians that have common sense and know and understand what to say and understand the science behind it. But there's other ones that just say absolutely wrong information. And it's appalling, right? Because that's their profession. But sometimes that happens and that's not a big deal. But I'm here to kind of dispel that, and just from what I've seen, right? And everything I say is done through trial and error, and that's been done in the field. I've tried all these things, and I know for a fact what's right and what's wrong. And people who have been in fitness for a while also agree with me as well. So we're just going to talk about these common diet myths. You might recognize these myths from earlier sessions, but I just want to reiterate them because I've been getting some questions lately about these specific myths, just not even like after the end of the sessions, but just walking around and talking to people in life. I've been getting these questions for a while. So I just want to reiterate them again, just to kind of emphasize how important they are and what they mean if followed correctly. So yeah, and these myths make it hard to lose weight essentially and keep the weight off. And many of you have probably heard these and even follow some of these myths. So I'm just here to just talk about them a little bit. So myth number 1: diet sodas make you gain weight or are loaded with sugar as well. So this is obviously a huge myth. So it's wrong because there's 0 calories. They literally, remember we talked about calories in, calories out. Like, if anything, help you lose weight. So if you eat less calories than you ingest, so essentially, if you're in a caloric deficit, such that you're eating less calories than your baseline calorie level, then you're going to be burning body fat. If you're in a caloric deficit, you're in a deficit of calories, you're going to be losing weight. And these are 0 calories. So by drinking them, you're going to put yourself in a caloric deficit probably, as opposed to having 100 calorie full calorie pop, now 0 calories. You're, given that you're not eating that 100 calories somewhere else, you're going to be losing those calories and burning those calories off, and that will be from fat. So just basic common sense, they are great because they help you, cure those cravings of, like, a sugar drink that you want. And two, there's 0 calories, so you're literally not getting any fat gain from them whatsoever. um, like I said, calories in and out. If you're eating less calories in than you expend, then you're just going to be burning calories. It's not like diet sodas don't have this magic thing where they make you gain weight for somehow. Like, they don't have any energy associated with them. There's 0 calories. They don't have any calories that could be used to gain fat. They don't have that. So this myth is fully founded on correlation and misunderstanding. And even some physicians will say, like, oh, lay out the diet sodas, but in fact, so they might say to their patients who are gaining weight, oh, lay off the diet sodas. But honestly, the drinking of the diet sodas from these patients is probably the one thing that they're doing correct, I would have to argue, because often it's based on correlation, this myth. So what they say is that individuals who are overweight, they say, well, so and so is overweight or they're obese or something, and then they're having diet sodas, yet and yet they're not losing weight. Therefore, diet sodas do not help you lose weight and whatever. But that's so wrong. The reason why they're not losing weight is not because of the diet soda. If anything, that's the one good thing they're doing. It's because they're still not following their diet in other aspects of their life. They're still eating high calorie dense food. They're still eating junk food. They're still having a lot of oils in their foods and such. They're not going out for cardio. They're not going to the gym. I can list 100 things here. But what I'm saying is that the 100 calories from one diet soda is not going to counteract the thousands of calories of junk food you're eating. It's just not. But it's a step in the right direction. So just because someone who might be overweight is drinking diet soda and not losing weight, it doesn't mean that the diet sodas don't work. It just means that their diet is so bad that there's other calories coming from somewhere else. And one diet soda is not going to counteract all the 10 other bad things they're doing. Okay. So it's actually a great alternative. I recommend, diet sodas, people who are trying to lose weight, because it reduces cravings. It's an amazing tool. And I don't know why they get such a bad rap. They're really fine. And the artificial sugars are not hidden sugars. If you want to know a bit of the chemistry behind it, normal sugars, such as, if we consider sucrose, for example, sucrose, you've probably heard of it. You look on the back of any sugary drink. Sucrose is two sugars combined, glucose and fructose together. They're in a bond together and they're essentially connected. Now, when you break these sugars apart, they're bonded to each other. When you hydrolyze them, hydrolyze is a fancy word for breaking. You take both of these sugar molecules and you break them chemically in the lab. When you break them apart, each of them individually is sweeter than them together. That's why honey tastes so sweet, because bees, when they're in the hive, they actually break these molecules apart themselves. Kind of interesting little fact there for you. But what chemical engineers have done recently is that you probably heard words like sorbitol and maltitol. When you hear all at the end of these sugars, they take these different sugars that are synthesized in the lab and they do a certain chemical modification to them that essentially makes them like 400 times more sweet and more potent, but without all the caloric issues, because these sorbitol, maltitol, all these chemically synthesized sugars, because of this chemical modification I was saying, our body isn't able to absorb them. And if our body isn't able to absorb them, it's unable to use the calories from them to gain body fat. So essentially your body will just not store these at all, therefore will not gain calories from them. So there's no hidden sugars. The sweetness comes from these artificial sugars that are not technically absorbed by your body at all, or just excreted, and you don't gain the calories from them. So they're no hidden sugars. They're not like, these sugars come, when it says 0 calories, it's 0 calories. There's no like, catch to it. It is too good to be true. There is, it isn't too good to be true. It's 0 calories and that's it, right? That's the end of it. So that's myth number one. Just think about that for a second. If you have any questions a bit later, let me know. But I just want to stress that diet sodas are not bad. And if you go to the grocery store and you have sweet cravings, go for a diet soda. It's not bad. It's helping you actually. It's better. Do not reach for your full calorie sodas because it's because the sugar is real and artificial sugars are bad. What's bad is 100 calories in a regular pop. You gotta get that through your mind in the sense that, because there's been a really bad rap associated with these diet sodas, which makes zero sense. So just keep that in mind. Um, Calories are not equal. I've heard this a lot from certain dietitians and a lot of people, but this is just straight up wrong. All calories are equal. A calorie is a unit of energy, just like um, a kilometer. A kilometer is a unit of distance, and 1 kilometer to my friend's house or 1 kilometer to a random tree in the forest is still a kilometer. Like, it doesn't matter where they're going. A kilometer is a kilometer. Likewise, a calorie is a calorie. It doesn't matter where it's technically from. I've heard things saying, well, they're not absorbed the same because it's healthy. Well, your body, like your small intestine, doesn't say, hey guys, this is a healthy calorie, I'm going to absorb it better than the other calorie. It doesn't know that. It just uses energy to keep you alive so you don't die. That's it. So realistically, when people say a calorie is not a calorie, it's almost like saying, oh, what weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks? You probably heard that when you were a kid. A pound of, it's the same thing. It's a pound, right? It's the same thing. I don't like, they are all equal. So often I think this is just perpetuated because there's this fad of, oh, eating healthy, I'm gonna eat all organic kale salads all day, and that's not really, I think it's just, a fad that's going on. But a calorie is a calorie, just as a kilometer is a kilometer or a pound is a pound. It really is the same thing, and I can't stress this enough. If you eat a calorie surplus, so if you eat more calories in than out, like I said, in the calories in, calories out, which you talked about time and time again, on this channel, even if it's all healthy food, organic, you're still going to gain weight. So what matters is the calories at the end of the day, and not necessarily, what the calories come from. So just keep this in mind. Yeah, and consider macronutrient composition, calorie density. So some foods, like we talked about, are more dense in calories than others, and we got to keep that in mind. And like I said, it all comes down to being in a caloric deficit. That's the key. That all it will ever will be, and that's all you need to know essentially. If you're in a caloric deficit, you're gonna be good. Okay, so let's move thing here. So yeah, myth number 3 here. You don't need to weigh yourself every day if you're trying to lose weight. And this is wrong. You do actually, and you should weigh yourself every day if you are trying to lose weight, and it should be at a specific set time. So preferably it should be in the morning, right after you wake up, after you go to the bathroom. That way you haven't eaten anything, and now you're at a baseline weight. It should be at that set time every day. You should track it. If you're interested in losing weight, you should weigh yourself every day. Now, this myth of not weighing yourself every day is often perpetuated by people's anxieties about the scale. So they already have their own anxieties about looking at the scale and worrying about it going up and down. So to make themselves feel better, they tell other people, yeah, you don't have to look at the scale every day, because they themselves have anxieties about it. And it's an unhealthy relationship they have with the scale. And you shouldn't be worried or anxious by looking at the number every day. If you are worried or anxious when looking at the scale or the number, then that's an issue you might have to work out with yourself, in a sense that that shouldn't happen. I don't know why our culture has perpetuated the fact that being anxious or scale anxiety is a normal thing, when in reality it shouldn't be considered normal. It should be considered something that should just be like, when you look at your car and you see the fuel meter, like, you don't get anxious. You just, oh, hey, if I'm low on fuel, I'm going to go and fill up with gas. Likewise, oh, if I gained a pound or two, not a big deal. I might just have to increase my cardio one day. It's like the same kind of thing. When we see your fuel meter, we adjust, right? We go fill up with gas, or hey, hey, we're up on gas. This is good. I don't have to get gas for a while. There should be no sense of anxiety with it. It's just a number. It's a quantitative measurement, like your height. It's just a simple number. We shouldn't be anxious about it. But if you want the best results, you should be weighing yourself every day. And I'll explain why. So I'm gonna, because I don't believe I've said this a few times now in our sessions about weighing yourself every day, but I never actually showed a schematic that explains the issues with not weighing yourself every day and what can happen. So I'll give you a hypothetical person here. You know how I said in a few sessions, like a lot of times I say that your weight, of course, can fluctuate day to day. And it's important to weigh yourself every day, because these fluctuations can sometimes make it seem that, oh, I'm losing weight, when in reality, you're not, because you might just be weighing yourself on a day when you happen to be, in a lower weight day just out of chance. So I'm going to explain this here. So this person wants to lose weight. They start at 182.3 pounds. And now they hear this advice that they shouldn't weigh themselves every day. And, they're happy about this. They don't like looking at the scale. They're anxious, whatever. And okay, good. Now they decide, oh, on day 9, I'm going to weigh myself again. Oh, awesome. I'm 182.2 pounds. Now this person thinks, hey, I'm actually, hey, I lost 0.1 pounds. I'm doing good. I'm not gaining weight. I'm doing good. And they pat themselves on the back, and then they have a good big dinner that night to kind of celebrate or whatever. So, and they feel good about it. But there's an issue here. If you look at all the other days, the trend is that they've gained weight. Look, 183.4, 183.3, 183.6. So compared to the 182, this one day 9 that they just happened to weigh themselves on, they got lucky. It was an outlier. It was a day in which it just happened. Maybe they got, a lot of sleep that night and they held less water. Or maybe they just went for a long walk the day before and it was an outlier. But in reality, they're actually gaining weight. So they think they're doing a good job with the weight loss strategy, but they're actually not. And this is, a fatal mistake. This is a mistake in which now, if you just weighed yourself every day, you would see that, hey, I'm maybe not losing weight, and let me adjust my diet. Okay, I'll adjust my diet. But because they're, anxious about the scale, they just checked on one day, and in fact, they're actually gaining weight. And then they check their weight a month later and they think, oh my goodness, I'm looking, I'm not looking as good as I want to. And this is why, because they've made the mistake of thinking they're losing weight when they haven't, because they looked at one data point as opposed to all of them. And what you should be doing for the best results is calculate the median. So here is day 1. They should add the weights from day 2, 3, from day 2 to 10, add all those weights from day 2 to 10, and divide that final number by 9. Where did I get the 9 from? Because day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 10, that's 9 total days, excluding the first day, right? You just add that up, divide by 10. Add that up, divide it by 9, because 9 days, you're adding up the total from 9 days. And you don't want to do the mean. So essentially, one sec here. One sec here. Yes, okay, that is the mean. So yeah, so the adding it up, the 9 days divided by 9 is the mean value, but the median value is a bit better. But if you want to calculate the mean, you can, but even the mean or median will tell you the same thing. But if you want to calculate the median, that's probably better because it's not going to be skewed by any outliers. So what you should do is line up, like if you want to go do a median calculator online, or you can do it yourself, it's just a little bit, more tedious. You can line up all the numbers from day 2 to 10, like line them up successively, and then put them from lowest to highest, and then you'll calculate the median. You can just go online and just type in all these numbers on a median calculator, and it will give you that. So when you do that, that will give you the median weight. I would rather, you calculate the median than the mean, because it's more accurate. The one I said, you can also calculate the mean if you want. I know I said in the slide there, you don't have to, or you shouldn't. But in this case, they kind of get my point across the same way. But I would recommend doing the median weight of these 9 days here, because that will give you a better indication. It won't be skewed by any outliers. But you can see though in this what I mean by that. It's a fatal mistake that people make. They think they're losing weight when they're not. So you can see here that why I should do it every day is because it'll give you a better idea about the trend, because these are not, your weights are not some set thing, right? It's not like your height. It's like varying, all the time. You got to take that into account. So perfect. So that's all that for today. Just a little bit of shorter session. I wanted to just spend time on these 3 myths specifically, because I find that there's a lot of issues with these myths, and often, the wrong information is given out. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone is up to date on this. And if they have any questions, just let me know. So like I said, next session will be Tuesday, May 25th. It'll be on Tuesdays now at the same time, regardless, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 Eastern. And if you have any ideas, let me know, email me, contact me through any ways necessary, and, hop on my YouTube channel, of course, and subscribe if you have not.